Hello folks, Wilson Ninja here bringing you another nerdy video. Today we'll be talking about barbarians as they are talked about. So I'm just going to move my mic away from my thing because I seem to be going up into the red very often. There we go. That's as far away as I can move it as possible. Okay, now we're going to be talking about the barbarians. Now, we did a special video in terms of the warlocks because I have a friend who is interested in playing, and I want him to be able to settle as quickly as possible with knowing about the class that he is strongly considering playing. But I believe it's now time for me to go back and talk about the Xanatar classes that I had missed before when I started this series before getting the book. So folks, let's start off with the barbarians. Here's another quote. I have witnessed the indomitable performance of barbarians on the field of battle, and it makes me wonder what forces lies at the heart of their rage. Seret, Archwizard. Now, here's what, again, we have a lot more role-playing and lore stuff for your barbarian. The anger felt by a normal person resembles the rage of a barbarian in the same way that a gentle breeze is akin to a furious thunderstorm. A barbarian's driving force comes from that place that transcends mere emotion, making its manifestation all more terrible. Whether the impetus for the fury comes entirely from within or from forging a link with a spirit animal, a raging barbarian becomes able to perform supernatural feats of strength and endurance. The outburst is temporary, but while it lasts, it takes over the body and the mind, driving the barbarian on despite peril and injury, until the last enemy falls. It can be tempting to play a barbarian character that is straightforward application of a classic archetype, a brute, and usually dim-witted one at that, who rushes in where others fear to tread, but not all barbarians in the world are cut from that cloth. So you can certainly put your own spin on things. Either way, consider adding some flourishes to make your barbarian stand out from all others. See the following sections for some ideas. Now, there's three things, as with the warlock, that helps you to develop your warlock to stand out more. The three things are personal totems, tattoos, and superstitions. So let's get into them. Right now, let's get into this personal totems first. Barbarians tend to travel light, carrying little in the way of personal effects or other unnecessary gear. The few possessions they do carry often include some small items that have special significance. A personal totem is significant because it is the mystical origin or is tied to an important moment in that character's life. Perhaps remembrance of the barbarian's past or a harbinger of what lies ahead. A personal totem is sort of what might be associated with a barbarian spirit animal, or might actually be the totem object for the animal, but such a connection is not essential. One who has a bear totem spirit, for instance, could still carry an eagle feather as a personal totem. Consider creating one or more personal totems for your character, objects that hold a special link to your character's past or future. Think about how a totem might affect your character's actions. And as per usual, it gives you 6 options, and they are as follows. Now again, it does say you can create your own, so folks, remember, the 6 things that I described to you when it comes to these extra lore or creative tips, you don't have to be married to them. So I want you to keep that in mind. Here's the totems now. A tuft of fur from a solitary wolf that you befriended during a hunt. 3 eagle feathers given to you by a wise shaman who told you they would play a role in determining your fate. A necklace made from the claws of a young cave bear that you slew single-handedly as a child. A small leather pouch holding 3 stones that represent your ancestors. A few small bones from the fists of the first beast you killed, tied together with coloured wool. An egg-sized stone in the shape of your spirit animal that appeared one day in your belt pouch. Now see, some of them clearly have ties to archetypes, but again, they don't have to. Alright, let's get now to the tattoos. The members of many barbarian clans decorate their bodies with tattoos, each which represents a significant moment in the life of the bearer, or the bearer's ancestors, or which symbolizes a feeling or an attitude. As with personal totems, a barbarian's tattoos might or might not be related to an animal spirit. Each tattoo a barbarian displays contributes to that individual's identity. If your character wears tattoos, what do they look like? And what do they represent? And then again, it gives you 6 things. Now again, I like how they, in this next section, they talk about how each tattoo has a meaning, but they don't give you those meanings. The wings of an eagle are spread wide across your upper back. Etched on the backs of your hands are paws of a cave bear. The symbols of your clan are displayed in viney patterns along the arms. The antlers of an elk inked across your back. Images of your spirit animal are tattooed along with your weapon, arm and hand. The eyes of a wolf are marked on your back to help you see and wave off evil spirits. So there you go, folks. Now, the last one sort of ties into the idea of your barbarian having a superstition. Barbarians vary wildly in how they understand life. Some follow gods and look for guidance from these deities in the cycles of nature and animals they encounter. These barbarians believe that spirits inhabit the plants, animals of the world, and the barbarians look to them for omens and power. Other barbarians trust only in the blood that runs in their veins and the steel they hold in their hands. They have no use for the invisible world, instead of relying on the senses to hunt and survive like the wild beasts they emulate. Both of these attitudes can give rise to superstitions, though these beliefs are often passed down within a family or shared among the members of a clan or hunting group. If your barbarian has any superstitions, were they ingrained in you by your family, or are they a result of your personal experience? Now, here's some superstitions it recommends. If you disturb the bones of the dead, you inherit all the troubles that plagued them in life. Never trust a wizard, they are all devils in disguise, especially the friendly ones. That could lead into some really cool role playing. Here's another one that could lead into cool role playing with other party members. Dwarves have lost their spirits and are almost like the undead. That's why they live underground. Oh. Magical things bring trouble. Never sleep with a magic object within 10 feet of you. Now that could be fun as your character gets magical objects and you're camping out and he has to put them 10 feet away from them. When you walk through a graveyard, be sure to wear silver or a ghost might jump into your body. If an elf looks you in the eyes, she's trying to read your thoughts. Again, I enjoy some of these superstitions. Now, you have 3 new primal paths. The Zealot Storm, the Zealot, Storm Herald, and Ancestral Guardian. So it's gonna go with alphabetical order, I believe. So we're gonna start off with the Ancestral Guardian. Some barbarians hail from cultures that revere their ancestors. These tribes teach that the warriors of the past linger in the world as mighty spirits who can guide and protect the living. When a barbarian who follows this path rages, the barbarian contacts the spirit world and calls on these guardian spirits for aid. Barbarians who draw on their ancestral guardians can bear a fight to protect their tribes and their allies. In order to cement ties to their ancestral guardians, barbarians who follow this path cover themselves in elaborate tattoos that celebrate their ancestors' deeds. These tattoos tell sagas of victories sagas of victories against terrible monsters, and other fearsome rivals. Now, the features of the Ancestral Barbarian are as follows. Starting when you choose this path at 3rd level, spectral warriors appear when you enter a rage. While you're raging, the first creature you hit with an attack on your turn becomes the target of the warriors, which hinder its attacks. Until the start of your next turn, the target has disadvantage on any attack roll that isn't against you, and when the target hits a creature other than you with an attack, the creature has resistance to the damage dealt by the attack. This effect, the effect on the target ends early if your rage ends. Now again, I like how the Ancestral Guardian seems to be building up the tank of the Barbarian. It really pushes it forward. At 6th level, you get Spirit Shield. The Guardian spirits that aid you can provide supernatural protection to those you defend. If you are raging and another creature you can see within 30 feet of you takes damage, you can use your reaction to reduce the damage by 2d6. When you reach certain levels in this class, you can reduce the damage more by 3d6 at 10th level and by 4d6 at 14th level. Once again, adding to the tank. So like, if the enemy does not target you, then they have disadvantage on their attacks, and those targets have resistance to the damage type. And if they still don't attack you, you can start reducing the damage done to your allies. It's really good. I can definitely see like a Viking playing this class. I can definitely see someone trying to make a Viking character and play this class, because it's very much like because Vikings are known to honor their dead, and I've seen many players associate Viking characters with barbarians. Consult the spirits. At 10th level, you gain the ability to consult with your ancestral spirits. When you do so, you can cast Augury or Clairvoyance spell without using a spell slot or material components. Rather than creating a spherical sensor, this use the Clairvoyance invisible summons one of your ancestral spirits to the chosen location. Wisdom is your spellcasting ability for these spells. After you cast either spell in this way, you can't do so again until you finish a short or long rest. That's sort of cool, like now your spirits are giving you guidance in helping you keep an eye for enemies. Now here's a cool one, Vengeful Ancestors. At 14th level, your ancestor spirit grows powerful enough to retaliate. When you use your Spirit Shield to reduce the damage of an attack, to reduce the damage of an attack, the attacker takes an amount of force damage equal to the damage that your Spirit Shield prevents. So now you can damage enemies as you protect your allies. And again, you can use this as many times as you have a reaction. So boom, that's once per turn. You can now deal this type of damage. But yeah, that's it now, folks, for the ancestral spirit. Yeah, it's not. These are not incredibly long. These videos aren't the catch-up ones from Xanatar's Guide, and that is just because we're not covering all the archetypes at once, as opposed to what we were doing with them before. So next is the Storm Herald. All barbarians harbour a fury within. Their rage grants them superior strength, durability, and speed. Barbarians who follow the path of the Storm Heralds learn to transform that rage into the mantle of primal magic which swirls around them. When in a fury, a barbarian on this path taps into the forces of nature and creates powerful magical effects. Storm Heralds are typically elite champions who train alongside druids, rangers, and others sworn to protect nature. Other Storm Heralds hone their craft in lodges in regions racked by storms and in frozen reaches of the world's end, or in deep into hottest deserts. Starting at 3rd level, you gain the Storm Aura ability. You emanate a stormy magical aura while you rage. The aura extends 10 feet from you in every direction, but not through total cover. Your aura has an effect that activates when you enter your rage, and you can activate the effect again on each of your turns as a bonus action. Choose Desert, Sea, or Tundra. Your aura's effect depends on that chosen environment, and as detailed below. You can change your environment choice whenever you gain a level in this class. If your aura's effect requires a saving throw, the DC equals 8 plus your proficiency plus your constitution modifier. Now, this is one of those moments where you have to really sort of think about your character's backstory and why is he harnessing this, and maybe about the future. So from level, you can only replace one, it seems. Hold on. Okay, so you only ever have one. Sorry, you can only ever have one. Storm Aura. Okay. So basically when you reach from level 19 or 20 or wherever your final barbarian level is going to be, you need to make sure you have picked and settled with your environment. Alright, let's get into them. Desert. When this effect is activated, all other creatures in your aura take 2 fire damage each. The damage increases when you reach certain levels in this class, increasing to 3 at 5th, 4 at 10th, 5 at 15th, and 6 at 20th. Okay, so this is just a quick burst of damage when you activate your aura. It's basically akin to, like, when you activate, it's not like it slowly builds up, it's like an explosion of energy. So this will be an explosion of heat and fire. C. When this effect is activated, you can choose one other creature you can see in your aura. The target must make a dexterity saving throw. That target takes 1d6 lightning damage on a failed save, or half as much damage on a successful one. The damage increases when you reach certain levels in this class: 2d6 at 10th, 3d6 at 15th, and 4d6 at 20th. So this one buffs the damage. It gives them a save to take half damage, but whereas the Desert Aura was more of like everyone, I don't care how many there are, yous are all taking damage, and it's guaranteed damage. The Sea Aura seems to be more focused okay, you trade off AoE for singular target. Tundra. While this effect is activated, each creature of your choice in aura gains 2 temporary hit points as icy spirits inure it to suffering. The temporary hit points increases when you reach certain levels in this class: 3 at 5th, 4th at 10th, 5 at 15th, and 6 at 20th. So Tundra seems to give your allies health. Okay, the next feature is Storm Soul. At 6th level, your storm grants you benefits even when your aura isn't active. The benefits are based on the environment you choose for your storm aura. So it seems like there are several. All your abilities focus around your storm aura, but it's not like with the animal totem barbarian. You can't have multiple auras active. And you can't have multiple environments. So each feature goes back to what you chose for your first feature. So keep that in mind, folks. Desert. You gain resistance to fire damage and you don't suffer the effects of extreme heat, as described in the Dungeon Master's Guide. Moreover, as an action you can touch a flammable object that isn't being worn or carried by someone else, and that is and you can set it on fire. So that's very cool, folks. So these are passives that are always active, even when your aura is not. And the Desert one seems really cool. C. You gain resistance to lightning damage, and you can breathe underwater, and you also gain a swimming speed of 30 feet. I'm starting to see. Again, this character I could see as a Viking, and it's going to sound stupid, folks, and it probably is, But I'm sort of seeing like with besides the breathe underwater and the swimming speed thing, with the storm, with the sea aura, I'm sort of getting a sense of like Thor with all the lightning, because like you're basically just covering yourself in lightning. Now I'm talking more like Thor from Marvel. Now I know some people say he's more of a cleric, but I'm just saying, because he does seem to go into rages in the movies. Okay, now Tundra. You gain resistance to cold damage and you don't suffer the effects of extreme cold weather, as described in the DMG. Moreover, as an action, you can touch water and turn 5-foot cube of it into ice, which melts after 1 minute. This action fails if a creature is in the cube. That is sort of handy, I suppose. Like you can quickly get your party across something as long as you keep moving. So you'd be like, okay, touch. Yeah, like your character will be leading the front. Like you will step onto ice, boom, 5-foot cube of solid ice. You then take another step, boom, dum dum. Like your character's making a bridge, but the party has to quickly follow behind you, and you have to hopefully get them all across and onto different cubes by 1 minute. So I'm seeing a lot of support and tanking in this class and damage. Shielding Storm. You learn to use your mastery of the storm to protect others. Each creature of your choice has the damage resistance you gain from Storm Soul feature while that creature is in your Storm Aura. Pretty cool. That is a 10th level thing. It builds upon your tank / support a bit. More so your tank, because you're keeping them near you. And you're going to be like, okay. Last but not least, that is most handy with the Tundra. The only problem with using it for desert is it's all other creatures in your aura. So with fire, they will all have to take that damage automatically when you activate it. Or again, they don't have to be in your aura when it activates. They could just run in after you activate it. Okay, Raging Storm. Now this is your last feature for this archetype, and then we're moving on to the Zealot folks. At 14th level, the power of the storm you channel grows mightier, lashing out at your foes. The effect is based on your environment choice for your Storm Aura. Desert. Immediately after a creature in your aura hits you with an attack, you can choose your reaction to force the creature to make a dexterity saving throw. On a failed save, the creature takes fire damage equal to half your barbarian level. So at most 10. It's okay. See, when you hit a creature with your aura with an attack, you can use your reaction to force that creature to make a strength saving throw. On a failed save, the creature is knocked prone as it is struck by a wave. It's been struck by a wave. A part of me likes that idea because again, I'm picturing like Thor's hammer and you just whack someone with it and they're just like, oh fuck. Tundra. Whenever the effect of your Storm Aura is activated, you can choose one creature you can see within in the aura. That creature must succeed a strength saving throw or its speed is reduced to 0 until the start of your next turn, as Magical Frost covers it. Alright folks, that's it for the Storm Herald. We're now on to the Holy Barbarian, or the Religious Barbarian. Some deities inspire their followers to pitch themselves into furious battle fury. These barbarians are zealots, warriors who channel their rage into powerful displays of divine power. A variety of gods across the worlds of D&D inspire their followers to embrace this path. Tempest from the Forgotten Realms, Hexter from and Iritiel Noel of Greyhawk are all prime examples. In general, the gods who inspire zealots are deities of combat, destruction, and violence. Not that all are evil, but few are good. Now, the your features for this archetype are as follows. Divine Fury. When you choose this power at 3rd level, you can channel Divine Fury into your weapon strikes. While you're raging, the first creature you hit on each of your turns with a weapon attack takes extra damage equal to 1d6 plus half your barbarian level. So 1d6 plus 10 if you're a level 20 barbarian. The extra damage is necrotic or radiant. You choose the type of damage when you gain this feature, so you can only pick it once. Warrior of the Gods. At 3rd level, your soul is marked for endless battle. If a spell such as Raise Dead has a soul effect on restoring you to life, but not undead, the caster doesn't need the material components to cast a spell on you. Wow, that's really cool. So basically, your soul has been marked to always be allowed to return to the world of the living for battle, as long as you're not a zombie or a vampire. Fanatical Focus. Starting at 6th level, your divine power that fuels your rage can protect you. If you fail a saving throw while raging, you can re-roll it and must use the new roll. You can use this ability only once per rage. Wow, once per rage. That means, oh wow, because keep in mind folks, when you reach a level 20 barbarian with this feature is really powerful, because a barbarian would have unlimited rages. So basically, oh, I'm going to go into a rage. They can now technically they can also stay in that rage for an extremely long time, but they have unlimited rages. So basically, at the end of every fight, if they use this feature, they can be like, okay, I turn it off, and then I go back into it. Oh wow. Zealous Presence. At 10th level, you channel divine power to inspire zealotry in others. As a bonus action, you can unleash a battle cry infused with divine energy. Up to 10 other creatures of your choice within 60 feet of you can hear and gain advantage on attack rolls and saving throws until the start of your next turn. You can use this feature. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. Now that's good, because especially with this, if you're teamed up with a samurai from the fighter class, they can sacrifice that advantage on their attack roll to gain like a whole bunch of extra benefits. Last ability, Rage Beyond Death. Begin at 14th level. Your rage begins to... The divine power that fuels your rage allows you to shrug off fatal blows. While you're raging, you having 0 hit points doesn't knock you unconscious. You still must make a death saving throws, and you suffer normal effects of taking damage while at 0 hit points. However, if you would die due to failing death saving throws, you don't die until your rage ends. And you die then only if you still have 0 hit points. So there you go, folks. The Zealots, basically, he gets knocked out to 0 hit points. He goes to fall back, and then he's like, oh, you just do a Hulk roar, and you're just there fighting, like, let's see. I'm actually gonna go back to a barbarian. Let's actually go back to the barbarian and see how long their rage can last. Because you don't die until your rage ends. So let's see here. Barbarian. Let's see. How long does their rage last? That's odd. Once your rage number times equals shown to your barbarian level. This fish before you can rage again. Okay. Your rage lasts for 1 minute, ends early if you are knocked unconscious or if your turn. Now again, this says it doesn't. You stay standing. But I could have sworn there was a thing that allows you to keep raging for much longer. Let's see here. Extra attack, feral instinct. You have advantage on attack rolls. Okay, here we go. I think it's relentless rage, I believe, maybe. Oh no, it's persistent. Your rage is so fierce that it ends early only if you fall unconscious or if you choose to end it. Okay, so yeah, your rage is always just 1 minute long, folks. It can own, like, again, persistent rage only makes it end, okay, yeah. So, that is interesting. I thought, like, there's something that extends it, so, like, a rage only lasts for 1 minute. But again, that's 10 rounds normally in combat, so, yeah. Which is really cool, folks. So that means if you literally just went into your rage and then got curb stomped by all the enemies as a zealot, you can just be like, yeah, I'm still fighting for 10 rounds. And then again, you will only die if by the time your rage ends, that you're going to, yeah, you have 0 hit points. Even if you have like all failed death saving throws, if your cleric in the party decides to then throw you a healing spell, you're back up. Now, mind you, if you go back up to hit points and then go back to 0, yeah, you'll still go into a state of where you fall unconscious when your rage ends. But yeah, I still find it really interesting, folks, that the barbarian is truly, like, I love the emphasis on your rage. Now, Storm Herald did not focus on your rage. Instead, that focused on you having a different ability that activated, I believe. Again, I literally just talked about it, and I really enjoyed it. Hold on. Storm Herald, Storm War. Okay, yeah. So they all amplified your rage. Now again, a lot of the primal paths boost your rage. Path of the Berserker boosts your rage into what's called a frenzy rage. Path of the Totem Warrior. That does not augment your rage. I believe that just gives you abilities based on your totem animal for even when you're not in a rage. Let's see here. You must make a. Yeah. Okay, yeah, it does. Okay, so yeah, all of them revolve around your rage. It seems, yeah, that's it. You're a Totem Warrior and Berserker, that's all you had for Primal Paths in the Player's Handbook. So you have 5 archetypes in total. But yeah, folks, they all augment your rage, and it is clearly it is the brick house of which a barbarian is. It's all about the rage. It lasts only for 1 minute, but depending on what archetype you go with, it can do huge different abilities. With Berserker, you become a really fierce warrior in your rage, just focused on purely killing anything that crossed your path. Ancestor, you're focused on protecting your allies and making the enemy attack you. Bear Animal Totem, it varies so much depending on what your totems are. Storm Herald, so many, again, that is also varied. Zealous, it's about keeping you going. You know, it's all about making sure that you fulfill your duty to your deity. So there you go, folks. That is Xanatar's Guide to Everything Barbarians. Next time we'll be covering Xanatar's Bards, and then after that we'll go on to Clerics and then Druids, and hopefully with that we'll then be caught up and we can go back to our normal schedule. We covered Warlocks and Fighters, both from Player's Handbook and Xanatar's. We'll then also be covering Sorcerers again, because I mostly focused on a UA, I believe, in my Sorcerer video. And my Sorcerer video was a bit rushed because I was making it for a friend. But yeah, anyway, folks, this is Will for Ninja. Sign out. May the force be with you, and remember, roll for initiative.